Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next in my series of interviews with my quilt friends, old and new. And today I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming Mary Davis. And for those of you on social media, especially Instagram, you know her as Merry-Go-Round Quilts. Mary gave me a wonderful bio statement, and I'm just going to read it because it's just lovely and in her own words. So Mary wrote this about herself. I have been quilting since 1994. I have always loved doing crafts, and my mom taught me how to sew and crochet when I was very young. I was a garment sewer for years and would make my own clothes, and I would hire myself out to make bridesmaid dresses on the side for extra money. My mom started quilting later in life, and I was fascinated by the blocks she would make. I decided I wanted to do the same. I bought a book at a local store called Teach Yourself to Quilt, and I made a sampler quilt wall hanging. From there began my journey as a traditional quilter. I made quilts for friends and family and sold quilts on Etsy. Last year, meaning 2020, I decided I wanted to make my own quilt patterns. I took Quilter's Candy's pattern writing course. Not only did I learn how to write quilt patterns, but I developed the confidence to start a business. Through a lot of coaching and support from Elizabeth and my newfound quilting family, I started an online membership platform that highlights quilt pattern designers of color. Members receive a new quilt pattern from a designer of color every other month and are able to participate in live Q&As with designers and fabric artists, plus much more. I also released my first pattern called Launch Party Quilt in January 2021. Oh, there's so much to talk about there, Mary. So welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you,
Carole? So happy to be here.
Well, thank you for joining and taking time out of your busy schedule to chat with me. And, you know, I want to hear all about everything you do. So let's go back a bit. Like you, I crocheted when I was young, but I didn't sew at all till I learned quilting late in life. But tell me a little bit about what you really enjoyed out of the sewing with your mom, you know, that early part of your sewing life.
Just creating something that I made with my own two hands that I didn't have to buy in a store, or that I could have bought in a store, maybe the later in life, not the early stuff that I made, which was, you know, just haphazard crap, but I was still very proud of it. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. My mom taught me how to crochet. It was a little hard for her because I'm left-handed, so she would get kind of frustrated, but I can visualize it. I can work it out. If somebody's doing something right-handed, I can figure it out left-handed. Okay. And so I crocheted. I still crochet, not as much as I used to, but I have a ton of Afghans. My daughter's got 2 or 3, and I don't know how many I've made, and plus what I've made for gifts, you know. And so yeah, and she, I would say, taught me how to sew, but kind of not, in that she had a sewing machine in the house. She had her old Kenmore sewing machine, and my sister, who's a year older than me and her would kind of sneak to use the machine. We had no idea what we were doing, but we thought we were doing something really cool because we would stitch a square or something, you know. But it was really, really fun. And I don't think until probably when I was in junior high school and I had to take home economics is when I actually learned how to sew from a paper pattern and make. Then I started, after that, I was like hooked, and I started, you know, sewing my clothes from patterns.
Well, I took a sewing class in junior high as well. Hated every minute of it.
Oh,
Said
really?
I'd never do it again. I think I made a few curtains along the way when I moved into my first apartment, like sewed one seam by
Yeah.
hand or something.
Right.
but but no, I didn't enjoy sewing at all, and did not know anyone in my family made quilts until I was in
Oh,
my 40s, and just woke up one day and decided to make quilts for nieces and nephews.
uh-huh.
And that's what got me started. And like you,
Oh,
I got a book from the library and,
yeah.
bought a couple books. Because back then
Yeah.
we didn't have the internet and all the rich
Right.
resources we have now. Uh,
Yeah. I had to go to the library and check out books because that was the only
so,
way I was going to learn new patterns.
so were there other sewers in your family, before your mother or in addition to your mother?
No, not that I know of. My
Hmm.
mom wasn't really that close with her family, so I don't know a lot
Hmm.
about that side. Um, I mean, I would imagine because I know that when my mom was young, she had to um, quit school to help take care of the family. And so I'm sure she learned how to do a lot of sewing and stuff at
Right.
that time. And she, did crafts when we were growing up. And even before I was born, she was doing, like she did like some doll making and she was real big into making doilies and that sort of.
I know, and it's so interesting now with the pandemic. So many of those handcrafts like crocheting have really come roaring back, and of course sewing. We know all about that.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's fast forward to you and quilts. So you found a book,
Mhm.
and what drew you into quilting?
Well, as I said, my mom, she was probably around 60 or so when she found quilting. She was really big into the Reader's Digest series of books, and they would like come to your home. And she had some. I actually have it because I took it. Um, some needleworking and craft type books, and that got her to start making some quilt blocks. And then when I would go up to the house and I saw what she was doing, and I wanted to do everything that everybody else was doing, and I'm like, that is so cool. I want to do it. And actually, it's kind of funny because the very first thing that I really, really wanted to do, I think it's called trapunto, where you have like the whole cloth quilt and it's just all nothing but stitching. And maybe someday on my bucket list, I can do that. But that's what was initially drew me in with her quilt blocks that she had made. And so I just went out and I got that book because I thought I want to do this too. So I started quilting and I would buy more and more books, make more and more things. And I'd keep running up to my mom's house. Now look at this one. It's like, what are you doing?
Oh,
So it was
and
fun.
you also started a business on Etsy. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Even though I started quilting long, long time ago, I kind of had a lull when my daughter was little. I only really made quilts as she was growing up. I made quilts for, special occasion,
Mhm.
like an anniversary, birthday, whatever, and that was it. And once she was out of school and I kind of made a quilt, and then I thought, oh my gosh, I did not remember how much I loved making quilts. And so after I made that first one, I'm like, I'm going to make another one. And so, just kind of blossomed from there. And I decided, okay, I'm making all these quilts, but what am I going to do with them? And I know I can give them away to friends and family, which I do that too, but I thought I could just make a little extra money on the side. And so I opened an Etsy store
Mhm.
and I started selling them on there as well.
Right. Do you still sell your quilts on Etsy or
Mhm. Yes, I
that's
still do. I haven't really posted anything new
mhm.
because late last year I kind of started the whole quilt pattern writing thing, and I had to focus on like one thing. And
Right.
yeah, I enjoy it. It's not making me a millionaire.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
sell quilts. I sell quilts here and there, and it makes me happy that people like my quilts enough to want to purchase them.
Mhm. One question I know people are going to want to know is, do you teach quilting?
No,
Yeah.
I don't.
Mhm.
I, I feel like maybe I'm not good enough to teach, like who's going to want to learn from me? I'm just like average Joe. I don't do anything special. So I don't know, but
Mhm.
who knows what the future might hold.
Right.
I'm really kind of interested in starting to do some pre-motion quilting videos, like tutorials on YouTube. That's in the back of my brain too, because I really like doing that.
Well, I will definitely be watching for those tutorials because that's not in my skill set.
Oh,
I do
fun.
all my quilting with my walking foot.
Oh, yeah, the straight line. Yeah.
Well, straight line and variations. They're not all straight lines, but
Uh-huh.
I have a very eccentric approach to quilting.
Oh, cool. Well, that's
Yeah,
good.
but most of the quilting on my quilts gets done by me writing a check to a long armor. That's my favorite way to do it.
Okay. Yeah.
So
That's
you were,
perfectly fine.
no, thank you. My long armors, thank you. Uh,
Yeah.
so you started out as a traditional quilter. How did you find the more contemporary modern movement?
Um, until I joined Etsy, or I'm sorry, not Etsy, Instagram, which was about a year, maybe a little over a year ago. I had no idea. I mean, I was sitting here in my little hole at home doing my stuff out of books and buying patterns, and I had no idea these modern quilts that were being made. And it was just like crazy. I mean, it's like beautiful quilts that people are doing, and it just amazed me and opened up my mind to like a lot more
Mm-hmm.
that I could do.
And what excites you the most about making more modern quilts or quilts that are more modern in style? What really pulls you in?
Um, well, I really, I don't know. I wish I could do curves. I've done one quilt with curves, and I think curved things look so awesome, and I just kind of like admire them from afar. And so hopefully that's something I can get a little better at and get a little more confident in. But I really, really like the curve kind of things. And personally, I'm a fan of like strip piecing. I like things that are easy, and I don't like, well, I shouldn't say I don't like, I kind of shy away from things that look really complicated. I mean, your stuff looks beautiful, and I'm like, I don't think I could ever. I don't think I'd have the patience. It's like, how do you put that together?
Well, thank you for that. And like the quilt behind me probably looks pretty complicated, right? Well, you'd be surprised. Yes. I don't do Y seams or hexagon shapes or anything that has to be, fiddly.
Oh yeah.
But I'm an improv quilter at heart and always have been. Although I write patterns that are, designed blocks, improvisation is always part of any pattern or workshop that I teach. And that's where you get the complexity. That's how you get it.
Yeah.
It's all straight line.
Yeah. It's really amazing. I see some curves.
Oh, yes. Yes, but my curve process, I don't use templates at all. All of my curves or the processes that I teach, it's all freehand cutting. It's all improvisational cutting. So every curve is a little bit different. And that's why you also get that whole improv look to everything. So I think get you in one of my classes one day. And
Yeah,
once,
and that would probably be easier for me because I think that following the template and having to stay right on the line,
Mhm.
when you
Although
can't
there are some teachers out there who and template designers who have some really cool tools and processes and that sort of thing. And I've, played with their processes. And for me, it's more of a style issue too. I just like the irregularity of freehand cutting. But I'll
Yeah.
post a couple of links to a couple of people who I think have some wonderful approaches to curved piecing. So I'll put that in the video, folks. Shout out to a couple of my friends.
Yeah.
But I want to pause for a minute. We're going to look at some images that Mary has for us. So we're going to take a quick pause and then we'll come back and she's going to do a screen share with us. All right, everybody, we're back and Mary's going to take us through some of the quilts and she's going to talk about her membership program. So Mary, why don't you start?
Okay, this is me. This is Mary in the first slide, my cool looking logo.
I love that logo.
It's funny because I was freaking out trying to figure out what to do for a logo. And I know a lot of people do that. And when I took the Quilter's Candy course, she was like, don't stress so much on your logo, just do something and you're done. And so I thought, okay, I'm done. I did it once and I'm finished. So there you go.
So you designed that logo yourself?
Yes, in Canva.
You did a lovely job.
Thank you. I like Canva. I'm getting better and better. It's fun tool.
Great.
So this is just the very first quilt that I made from the Teach Yourself to Quilt book. And gosh, like I said, I think it was 1994, pretty sure. I signed the back of it. And it taught you how to sew everything by hand, but then you had to do all the quilting, or I'm sorry, sew everything by machine, and then all the quilting was done by hand. So kind of wrinkly and stuff, but that was my beautiful beginner hand quilting.
But I see tumbling blocks. I mean, a lot of beginners would never even try that block.
Yeah, I remember the book. It was just, the instructions were so clear and everything was pretty easy for me to do. The grandmother's garden, or whatever you call that one down in the middle center.
Yes.
I think that was the hardest one for me because it did have the Y seams.
Yeah, those X's. I want to just pause for a minute because I love the fact that I heard you say you signed your quilt. It's so important for quilters that we label our quilts. There's so many quilts that have been made by people over the years and nobody knows who made them. They're anonymous. It's terrible that we lose that history.
Yeah.
And, families want to know as well, oh, it was great Aunt Carol's quilt. Great Aunt Mary.
I know, and I did sign all the ones, just with ink back then. I mean, I didn't know about buying, cloth tags or anything. And I do have to say I am guilty. I do have some quilts that I have not labeled that I've sold. And so, yeah, shame on me, but I'm getting better. I ordered a bunch of quilt labels, so it's all good. And then this is just a picture of my launch party quilt that I had, my very first pattern that I released in January last month. Well, I have EQ8, and for my first pattern, I kind of wanted to do something which to me I thought would be a little simple. And I know with half square triangles, you could do like a gazillion things with them. And so I found a block that I liked in EQ8, colored it in and just kind of moved it around a whole bunch of different ways. You know how it can automatically show you a ton of variations on the blocks. And I saw this one because I initially wasn't going to do this pattern. I had something different in mind. And then I saw that and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love it. So that is how that came about. And but now I've discovered, you know, design your own block, and I really like that. Designing your own block on EQ8.
Well, one of the things that makes this quilt very modern is your use of value difference. You know, in the one on the left with the pink and black, you know, the pink is a soft, you know, lighter value, and the off-white. So they kind of recede, for my eye, they kind of recede away,
Right.
and then the darker ones come out. And then I look at the red and blue on the beach, I guess. I love your photo there.
Colorado Pond.
Colorado Pond, okay. And again, you're playing with the value difference. And that's so important for all of us when we're choosing fabrics, is to keep value difference in mind.
Yeah, and I like, you know, doing something with the high contrast of light and dark. And I really like 2-color quilts, but this one's not that, but it kind of reminds me of that would be a cool design too, if it were just in, now that I'm thinking about it, in just the 2 colors, it would be like really feminine. If it was just all in the pinks, that would be awesome. But yeah, I'm a fan of pink and blue, so there you go.
Well, and EQ8, for those of you who don't know, EQ8 is Electric Quilt 8. It is a software program, and I'll put a link in the video to that site as well. But once you start learning to play in EQ8, you can spend a lot of time doing variations. Ask me how I know that.
You know that
version number 103 of the same pattern.
Add to sketchbook.
Just add.
I know, it's crazy. It's so fun. And I have that Encyclopedia Piece Quilt Blocks. Is that the one that
yes,
they
Barbara
sold also, which is awesome. Love that book. I just, you know, keep going through it, flagging pages, go through it again, flag. I mean, I love that book.
And also EQ8 just released the software to go with that book, and you can add the software to your EQ8. You have to buy it. And that way you don't have to redraw. The encyclopedia we're talking about, sorry everybody, is by Barbara Brackman. And it's an encyclopedia of traditional quilt blocks, although a lot of them look very, very contemporary. But she gives you a lot of the history of the block, and she's a researcher as well as a designer, and she gives us, you know, when it was first published and where and that sort of thing. It's really a fascinating encyclopedia. But now you can buy a software package, add it to EQ8, or not. It can be standalone too, I believe. And you can print the patterns for those blocks right from that software. You don't have to redraw them.
It's amazing. I don't know how I mean, I can't imagine the amount of time she spent to put that together.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful book.
Yeah. And this is my new pattern coming out, hopefully in April is my goal. I'm calling it Hum a Few Bars. And I really like I said, I like the strip piecing. And for this quilt, I didn't have a pattern in mind, and I wanted to make something. I like log cabins. So I'm a fan of the log cabin. And I thought, well, what would happen if I just took these strips and kind of did this? And yeah, so that's what happened. And it worked out. And now I'm in the process of finalizing the pattern and hoping that my quilt math is correct when I send it off to have somebody review.
Yes. So this is another 2-color quilt. Is it purple and white?
Yes.
Yeah. And really effective.
Yeah. So 3 shades of purple is what I did.
Okay.
I just got several of the Kona cottons that were available the store that were all kind of one color value. And so purple was what I could find.
Right.
I really like it. I was really excited about it, and I'm real happy with it. So
And I love the title. The title is so clever.
yeah, that's a hard thing for me. I don't know if for you, but coming up with quilt names is it takes a while to come up with the right name.
Well, now when I send a new pattern out to a group of testers, I ask them for ideas sometimes.
Oh, there you
Sometimes
go.
I know, but sometimes I like a little feedback too.
Yeah,
I could also, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was about to say, I could also see someone making this quilt using rainbow colors, kind of going through the rainbow. It would be a really cool version.
Yeah, I've actually done, three versions. I have this one. I have one that's 4 colors. So each side, left, right, top, and bottom are a solid color. And then I have one that's like a rainbow. So I'm still trying to decide how I'm gonna release it, if it will be all in one pattern or if I have to do more than one, but it'll come.
Okay.
So then we get to my membership.
Yes, tell us more.
Well, what I'm doing is, after I took the course, and Elizabeth helps you decide on a niche for your business, Elizabeth Chappell of Quilters Candy. And I couldn't really figure out what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do something, and I really wanted to have my own business. I thought that would be great, but I didn't think it was really possible. I just thought I was going to do some stuff on the side and, work until I was 100 years old before I could retire. And so I know she had a membership going, and I thought, one night, how you wake up in the middle of the night, you're like, oh, you have those epiphanies. And I thought that would be a great idea if I could feature quilters of color and offer their quilt patterns and introduce the newer quilters to like the mainstream of the quilting community, because the quilting community, most of the popular quilters are white, and nothing wrong with that. I love their patterns. I buy all patterns. I'm not discriminatory on any of that, but I just really saw that there was a lack of quilters of color, especially on Instagram. And I just thought it would be a fun idea to introduce these quilt pattern designers of color to the mainstream quilting community, because they would not otherwise have known about these people. So I just want to kind of shine a spotlight on them. And so that's what I'm doing. So I started this membership where for now, every other month you will get a quilt pattern from a designer of color. And it's not just Black or African American quilters, it's all quilters of color, and everybody is welcome to join. That was another question, sorry, that I had gotten, where people were like, well, I'm not a person of color, can I still join? It's like, of course you can. It's for everybody. Everybody's welcome. And I'm just trying to educate other people who don't know that there is this community of, quilters of color out there who are doing some amazing things, and they're just not as well known. But hopefully I can help them, bridge that gap and get out there. So
yeah, there's been more attention, for all the reasons we know, in 2020 on quilters of color, African American quilters, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And so the visibility is getting better.
Yes.
I think actually it might be the garnet sewing makers of color probably have more visibility, I think,
Oh,
in their niche than the quilters, the new quilters of color. I mean, we've got
uh-huh.
some people who've been around for a while. I'm not going to name names because I'll leave somebody out, who've been doing amazing work.
Right.
But it's like you said, it's the lesser known uh, designers who
Mm-hmm.
need the exposure. So I think this is a great idea. And as you said, the
Yeah.
membership, folks, is open to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can join.
Yep. Anybody
And
can join the fun.
what will they get? What kinds of things will they get?
Okay. So the quilt pattern, you get a
Mhm.
PDF every other month, and that's available for you to download and for your personal use, and you I will also be releasing my patterns in the membership first.
Mhm.
So that will help with bringing things up to maybe getting a pattern a month and not every other month. I've got a lot of designers lined up, and I'm really anxious to get them all out there. So I will be releasing some of them back to back.
Mhm.
And I'm also doing an Underground Railroad quilt of the month, which is, I don't have the name of the book, Hidden in Plain View.
Hidden in plain view. Mhm.
Yeah. And it goes over the Underground Railroad quilt code and what quilts were, how quilts were used as clues or codes for escaping slaves to aid them on their journey and to tell them where to go. And it's a fascinating book that the quilts, because the quilts were just innocent. I mean, the landowners and the um, heads of those plantations had quilts, and they just needed to be, when they needed to be aired out, it wasn't um, it wasn't anything suspicious. But to the slaves who were trying to escape, airing out a quilt was a code to them to do something, because they saw this quilt that was displayed, and they memorized the different designs of the quilts as to what their next step in the journey would be.
Right.
And so every month for 12 months, I am going to release one of the quilt patterns as a PDF so you
Mhm.
can make a block. So last month it was the turn dash, and for March it's going to be the wagon wheel. And so, that's kind of a fun thing, and I'll also give a little history on the block. And then I'm also doing a member spotlight, so that just because it's a fun thing to do. I'm doing a monthly Zoom call, just I call it my sip and see. So we can get together and just chat. You can show your show and tell. You could talk about your business, your blog, whatever you want to do. It's just, trying to build a community there. I'm also providing some interviews from different nonprofits, or doing an article to introduce, like Social Justice Sewing Academy was one. And my next one is going to be with Quilters for Community,
No.
which is like a really great organization. Live Q&As with designers. I've only had one designer so far, which was Rachel Clark, which was it was really fun. And she had a presentation that she had showed us of her quilts, and I'm sorry, of her jackets, which was really helpful because a lot of the people in the membership had no idea who she was. So that was kind of really a good feeling for me, because I was able to introduce those people to Rachel who had no idea who she was. And she's a pretty popular person, in a person of color in the quilting community. So that was really awesome. This is Lynette Muhasso, and her company is Lynn's Avenue, Lyns. You can also find her on Instagram. And this is her Ella Vista quilt. And the thing that I liked about Lynette is she has these just vibrant colors and these awesome curved patterns and circle patterns that I had never seen before. And I mean, I think she's like super talented. She's got some amazing designs. And yeah, and I had no idea about her. I found her on Instagram, like searching for people, and she agreed to be my first designer, which I was so happy. She's super nice. She's living in Australia, and just doing this awesome work. I just really was happy I got to introduce her to the membership and others too, because if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see what's coming up. So you'll see her and you can follow her if you like.
Mm-hmm.
So this was her Ella Vista quilt. And this is my version of her Ella Vista quilt. So this was my very first time doing curves. I think they're like circles. They're they're kind of like looking like an oval, but if you just glance really fast, you don't see that. Coming up for March, oh shoot, can't see her face. And I don't know if you can see her face in the slide. My image is blocking her. But this is Megan Lopez, and her business is called the Athena Workshop. And her pattern featured here is called Jester. And that's going to be the pattern for the month of March that the members can download and keep for their personal use. And really excited to work with Megan. She's doing some amazing stuff with nonprofits and charitable quilts. It's really cool. And then this is just a list of the designers that are coming up that you will see in the membership. So very excited to work with some of these people that some of them you may know and some of them you may not. But Bavari is pretty new. She has her first pattern releasing, I believe, in March, which is really fun. Very bold colors too. She likes bright colors. So I'm really happy to have found these people and that they've agreed to be a part of my membership.
I love the fact that your membership or your designer team is so international as well.
Yeah.
So, what countries so far are represented besides the US?
India. Well, Lynette is living in Australia now, but she's from Africa. Mm-hmm. And the Latin community is represented. I have another African-American person, Charisse, Spain. And then Wendy with the Wilkin Weekend Quilter is, Asian American. So I'm really excited to bring these different nationalities into the membership and have some diversity is my goal.
I think you're achieving it.
Thank you.
You're achieving it. And it sounds like you're offering a lot of ways for people to engage with each other within the membership with your live Q&A and having featured speakers and that sort of thing. That's really wonderful.
Yeah, I've gotten some really positive feedback, and people like it. And I think what's important is, to have the community and to also listen to what your members would like to see. Mm-hmm. And I've had some suggestions. Somebody wanted to, I'm doing the member spotlight, but she was also interested in what the members are doing and like if they have patterns or, so during their mm-hmm. member spotlight, I can say, I've said, oh, well, this person, here's their website. they have this free pattern, but if you'd like to check out any of their other patterns. So it gives them an opportunity to get a little bit of more recognition there too. Even though they're not featured designers, they can be featured in the spotlight.
So Mary, thank you so much for that wonderful overview of what is a pretty new venture. This is really impressive. When you think about your membership and what's going on with it, what brings you the most joy? I mean, what makes your heart happy?
I would have to say what I really enjoy is the relationships that I have formed with people out off of the membership. Before it even started, I had people reaching out to me, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is so great! If you need any help with anything, I'm happy to do what I can." Or they were offering a lot of support, and I was getting names of people who I could talk to. I mean, everybody's just like, "Yeah, let me do this, I can help you." And it's just been great. And I have, I've really gotten to know some of the members really well. And I just like that. I like making new friends. I'm an outgoing person, and so can't have too many friends. And I just love that I have these quilty friends now that I can turn to for questions or advice on things. And
Yes,
it's just been really great. And without I just had no idea how friendly all of the quilting community would be.
and that's been my experience as well, having been in some part of the quilting community for a lot of years. First as an art quilter, and now as most of the time as a modern quilter. But yeah, there's a lot of generosity out there. And, sometimes I think folks are hesitant to ask, feeling they may be imposing on someone. And, I shouldn't say this too much because I'll get a ton of emails now, but but I try to help people, or at least direct them to somebody who can give them the help that maybe I can't give them.
Yeah.
Because we don't all know everything, but we might know somebody who knows something.
Right.
But yeah, it's a wonderful community.
Yeah, and that was part of my hesitation at first with doing this, is I was a little scared to reach out to some people, because I don't know, I'm new and nobody knows me, and I got to build that trust and get people to know what I'm doing. And so yeah, I think I've gotten over that now. I've reached out to a lot of people, and everybody's just been so friendly about it. So it was easier because at first you don't know how people are going to respond.
True.
But yeah, everything has been positive, and people have been so friendly and helpful that now I'm like, oh, I got this.
Well, I'm so excited for you, for your members, and for your team of designers. I think that this initiative is just wonderful, and that's why I reached out to you to say, would you mind being one of my interviews?
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing your time, and just thank you for bringing this to life. Really, thank you. It's a gift you're giving to the entire quilt community. So on behalf of them, I want to say thank you.
But yeah, so if anybody has any questions about my membership, check out my website. There's a sheet or a page with all the information, and I'd love to have you join us. And if anybody knows of any quilters of color that they'd like to see on there, please reach out.
That's a wonderful invitation. Thank you. And thanks everybody for tuning in today. Please do like, this video, please subscribe to my channel. We all have to say that on YouTube. Like and subscribe. But please also go back and check out some of the other interviews in case you haven't seen them. And stay tuned. I'm going to keep doing these interviews as the year rolls out. So take care. Thank you again, Mary. And thanks everybody for tuning in, and take care. Bye-bye, everybody.